What is up, everybody? Doing my first live stream on YouTube and Instagram. Let's get this stuff rocking here. Sweet. We are live. Appreciate y'all for checking out the live. My name is David, if you've never seen me before, and I'm trying out the live for the first time. So bear with me as we get everything figured out. But I have a pretty fun presentation for you, something that's been heavily on my mind and something that I feel like a lot of people can benefit from, all parsed together in one thirst trap package. So how could it get better, right? But I'm going to just let this ride for a little bit, do a quick check, make sure I'm coming through before we get into, oh yeah, it's working. See if I'm live on Instagram real quick. I'm not sure if I am. This is all new to me. I think I'm live on both now, so that's pretty cool. Really have no way of telling. Hey, Danny, can you go on Instagram and see if I'm live? I think I am. Appreciate you guys for bearing with me here. Oh, sick. Appreciate you guys for bearing with me here. I'm listening to myself. It's like I'm in Inception. But it is, what time is it? It's almost 10:20. I have to work in 10 minutes. So I want to get into the meat and potatoes of this Instagram and YouTube live that I'm presenting for the first time today. For everybody who is unfamiliar with me, my name is David Martin. I'm a former personal trainer that shifted into the corporate world, but I still do online training. I have a coaching app as well as one-on-one personal training. And I want to go ahead and get into science-based lifting. Is it good? Is it bad? We're seeing a lot of emphasis on people integrating an evidence approach into their gym routine. So I want to let you know my thoughts, my experience, and figure out where the best of both worlds lie. Awesome. We got the Automate Your Hustle CRM in the chat. What's up? Thanks for stopping by. I got Danny here on the video. Appreciate you, Danny. As we go, guys, feel free to drop any questions. It's a pretty quick presentation, but I'm definitely down to field any questions to this. So let's go ahead and get into it. Do you like the thirst trap? I don't know. I feel like it does something for me. Maybe it'll make you stick around and stay in the chat. But we can move it on to the next slide here. Welcome to the channel. Like I said, if you're new, my name is David, online coach, former personal trainer, and I have a coaching app called the Dmart Training Club that I'm pretty stoked about. I'll be talking more about that as we go. Let me go ahead and see if I can get this video rolling. It doesn't want to cooperate with me, I guess. I had some fun videos. We may or may not have those work as I'm learning how to do this live stream stuff. But let's talk about evidence-based training because that's quite the hot button topic. We have a lot of big creators that have millions of subscribers from an evidence training perspective. I guess that's their perspective, is evidence and science-based training. And it's a very polarized topic. Like, some people love it, some people hate it. So I want to talk about my thoughts. And like most things in the fitness industry, it's not black and white. So how we can integrate both of those approaches to get the best results possible. That's always the goal, right? I always like to cover why something's good. And if you know me, if you follow me, you know that I heavily integrate an evidence-based approach into my training. I do all the slow eccentrics, pauses, full range of motion stuff that all of the guys that are big on science-based approach integrate into their training. And I feel like some of my biggest inspirations, Jeff Nippard, Dr. Mike, Renaissance periodization in general, Stronger by Science, all those guys, they adhere to that science and evidence-based approach. So I would say I'm science and evidence-based, but I have seen it gone a little too far in person and just with some very big content creators out there. So I want to get you back, bring you centered to the best of both worlds. So let's talk about why science-based training is good, because you see me espousing it all the time. Science gives us a framework for what can work in the gym. Basically gives us a light to follow in that expanse of darkness that is the gym and achieving your fitness goals. I think science provides like a great direction because we can see what's been validated, repeated, and see what works for some people. That being said, and like I'll hit on later, it doesn't paint the whole picture. The good thing about studies is, like I said, they're repeated, they're often valid. They provide averages, and it's good to follow the averages, but there's always more to consider. So that's what we'll cover in the next slide. There are, of course, limitations to the science-based approach. I think the biggest one, people will really get excited about a study prematurely, but keep in mind, a study isn't necessarily representative of that real world environment because research, it's conducted in a vacuum. Like it's under a controlled setting. I've been a research participant, very controlled setting in the study that I was volunteering for. So just keep that in mind. It doesn't necessarily paint the entire picture when you're adhering to what you see in a study. The one that comes to mind is the volume study, which found that there were optimal results from 40 to 50 sets of a muscle group in a week. I don't know if anybody's ever done 40 to 50 sets of one muscle group. I definitely haven't. And I feel like I would get absolutely smoked if I ever tried to do that, like to the point of injury. I think it's fair to say that more volume could equate to more gains, but there's a lot of real world considerations that come into play there. So keep that in mind as you're going. Another limit of science-based studies, that's kind of redundant. Another limitation of studies, rather, is that the population sizes are often small and not representative of people that are really in the gym. Like 9 out of 10 times, the subject of a study is going to be a college kid. Keep in mind, I don't know what you guys did in college, but I didn't sleep enough. I was constantly stressed with school. I was going out a decent amount. My diet was pretty healthy because that's something that was important to me, but that's often not the case. So a lot of extrapolations can be made, and the sample size of which the population is, the sample size of the population is just potentially not representative of you. And definitely, I think this is the biggest issue that like professional bodybuilders take. It's like, hey, I'm not a 180-pound college kid who might train 3 times a week. Like I'm in the gym 6 times a week, doing this thing for years and years. And that's where I think the discrepancy and polarization comes from. Keep in mind, one more limitation that came to me from the study that I was in and from a lot of the studies that I read is they are on a short-term basis, like that volume study, right? Like I'm not exactly sure what the duration of that study was, but most studies are around 8 to 12 weeks. And man, if you're in it for the long haul, which I really hope that you are, because really all fitness is, I've been doing it for 10 years. It's just staying consistent. It's just having the discipline to keep coming back to the gym. Studies are not longitudinal, which means, long term. They're often short term. And that means that certain results that could be extrapolated just aren't 100% pertinent to you. Once again, I don't know if I need to tweak a setting here, we'll figure out these videos, but for now, you just get a nice still of my butt. Was doing some hamstring curls because I think this is like a perfect example of something that studies haven't proven, but is like a bro science bodybuilding lore thing. That is hitting hamstrings before your leg day. Like, I don't think there's ever been a study that directly observes this, but if you've ever done hamstring curls or any type of hamstring movement before like a squat pattern, it always feels better. That's something I've heard from John Meadows. Dr. Mike said it. A lot of people have said it, and it simply hasn't been studied. And as a result, some people might just, they might just neglect this strategy that people will espouse because it really does work. Like personally, I'm a big fan of this, but it's not ever been directly studied. So people might think it's a waste of time. So I think dismissing that anecdotal evidence, like I say in my last point down there to the bottom, it's a big problem that people encounter when they're over relying on the studies or over relying on what they're hearing from those science communicators. I'll jump back up to the top there. Over analysis is something that I've been caught in, like really trying to make my form as perfect as possible. You just waste some time, waste some potential gains than just going in and doing the thing. And I've seen it really bad where some kids are out there just really overemphasizing like slow eccentrics, perfect form. And it's it's holding you back at the end of the day. And then personal preference is huge. Like it might be optimal that the stretch on a deep cable fly is good for your chest, but maybe you do well with barbell bench and your chest responds great to that. Some people will just straight up cut out the barbell bench because it's not the most scientifically friendly movement. And I'm telling you, if something feels good, personally, it works for you, ride with it. So I want to keep this first one short because as you can see, I have some kinks to work out with my presentations, but we'll be back for more. So here's some quick takeaways for you. Just remember, science is one of the many tools in your toolbox. It's not the dictator of all of your actions that you have to follow 100%. So integrate experience and science into your approach. Consider what's coming out, try it out. If it works for you, great. Keep repeating it and integrating it. If it doesn't, maybe wait until more clarity is given. The whole picture is probably the most important thing in these big takeaways. Like I said with that volume study, right? That's in a controlled setting, but your life has a lot more going on than just the parameters of what participants in a study were exposed to. So keep in mind, you have a lot of demands in life, and in order to balance your fitness with your life demands for that long-term approach, that's what's going to be most important. So consider those things when you're structuring a program. And like I said, just sustainability and adherence is key. The biggest thing you can do for your fitness goals is to just stick with it and do a little something every day or, several times a week. That's what's really going to help you make those long-term results that are sustainable. So thank you so much for everybody that checked out the first live. Appreciate you guys for coming through. It was fun. And I have some more topics that I'm going to make and come on live later this week. But if you have any ideas for me, drop them in the comments, shoot me a message, shoot me an email. My email is dmarttraining@gmail.com. You see the website there, the socials, follow, check out the website. And thank you guys once again. If you ever need help structuring a nutrition plan, or if you need some inspiration for your program that you're going to follow in the gym, I have a lot of different options, whether it be one-on-one coaching or the Dmart Training Club that provide some good stuff for you to use as you're getting into your fitness journey. So appreciate you guys, and I'll catch you in the next one.